So we'll start with some introductions for those of you who don't already know us or already work with us or haven't met us in our session just now. So I'm Rachael Bartholomew. I'm Head of Client Services at OCC. And my role, in a nutshell, is all about strengthening and nurturing our client relationships. So I look after our project management team, our sales team, and our account managers. So like many others of us at OCC, I started off as a scientist. I studied chemistry at Imperial, and then I moved into computational chemistry and working on improving solar cells. From there, I moved into retail and worked in an innovation team for a global brand. So all sorts of work on prototypes, moving big virtual rails in stores where you could swipe through garments as if they were there, that kind of thing. So a lot of fun working in agile teams and learning how to do fast iterative development. And then in 2015, I moved to OCC as a technical project manager and brought all of those ideas of agile development into our small project teams. But through my time at OCC, it's been really interesting for me to see all the new and emerging technologies. But the most exciting thing for me has been about seeing how you can apply them. And that's really our theme for today and for our conference, is not only looking at the new capabilities in AI, but also how you can actually apply those concepts, how you can use them. And really exciting to see some of our speakers today doing that, but also we have a hands-on workshop where you can actually apply some of those concepts for yourself. But none of that would be any good if we didn't have a delivery team. So I think here is a good point for me to introduce Tim Palmer, who is our head of project delivery.
Great, thanks, Rachael, who banished me to the far side because she didn't want to look at my face while she was doing her talk. I'm the technical half of the partnership, which means I do fun things like slide transitions. Now, I know slide transitions were at passé at this point, but I thought that one was particularly nice. So I'm head of project delivery, and that basically means I lead the software engineering team. It's great fun working with Rachael because she's constantly coming up with new ideas, and then I'm the one responsible for working out how to make that happen. Today's impossible challenge was, how do we make some AI applications in under an hour? But turning ideas into reality is what we do here. So I'm not only showing you one AI application in an hour, but we're going to do 4 AI applications in an hour, thanks to my lead software engineering team over there. And they're going to show you the handful of code lines it takes to add AI to your applications. A bit more background to me, if you haven't met me yet, is I'm a really proud physicist. Like most physicists, I like interfering in other people's science, and this is my dream job because I get to meet all of you and get involved in your projects. When I joined OCC 11 years ago, I thought I was about to go into the boring corporate world. In fact, one of the jobs I interviewed for was stock market trading, and I shudder to think what my life would be now if I went down that path. Instead, I joined OCC, which is different. My first project was working on national grid modeling of electric cables, working out how much current they could put down their cables before they melt. It's a great project I still love talking about. So if you want to learn more about that, come find me in the break. It's more than just a fun project. It also showed the breadth of technologies. Now, I don't know about you, but when I put my CV together for joining the company, I listed all of the different languages I knew. Kaz, who's over there, interviewed me. He didn't check whether I actually knew Fortran and MATLAB, but the first project he gave me was on Fortran and MATLAB, and I had to dust off those old skills and work out how to do that again. But that's what we're about at OCC. It's the breadth of different technologies and constantly learning the new things. And what I've witnessed over my 11 years here is the growth of Microsoft Azure and cloud computing. I mean, in the old days, if we were to publish a website, it'd be a lot of effort. You'd have to first, arrange to get a virtual machine from a hosting company. Then you have to copy over the file slowly. These days, it's a couple of clicks on Microsoft Azure and your website's up. Not only that, I've seen the rebirth of Python. Python is now doing microservice numeric calculations for us. And on top of that, we've got machine learning and AI. And we've been delivering exciting AI projects for our clients now for a while, whether that's turning researchers' code into production-ready, cloud scalable applications, or helping our engineering customers exploit the latest machine learning models and building some exciting things for them. Now, hopefully you, like me, have realized that we're in the middle of an AI revolution right now. And I think we're at the point where AI is more accessible than it has ever been before. I mean, you just have to look at what Microsoft are doing with Bing. We can all now do some natural language model processing there. And I want to use this conference to make sure that you and I are making the most of the opportunities that this presents. So I hope you have a great day today, and I'm going to see you all later at the end of the day for our AI workshop, where my team of lead software engineers are going to show you exactly how accessible AI is today. So I'm going to hand you back to Rachel, and you're going to tell us what else we've got.
Yeah. Well, I think you've made the development team nice and nervous now. Brilliant. So just a quick recap of our agenda for today. So we have lots of exciting talks for you and plenty of chances to network as well and get to know everyone. So our first session today will be from Professor David Clifton. We're really excited to have David speaking for us today. He's a world famous and award-winning specialist in AI, and his talk will give you an overview of the modern capabilities of AI and expand your horizons beyond all those recent flurry of press articles we've seen lately. I'm sure you've all been scrolling through them as well as I have. And he will talk to you about how these technologies can be applied, using some examples from healthcare. We're then going to enjoy a talk from Kaz Dabrowski. He's one of OCC's founders and Tim's interviewer. So Kaz is going to be speaking to us about how to harness the power of AI, looking at some of the criticisms of language models, but also the flip side to that, and how sometimes we're a little bit overconfident in what these models can achieve. Kaz is also going to be showing us a demo, so we're hoping that all of that works out well and the demo gods are on his side today. We are then going to take a short break for some more refreshments, and then reconvene for our second session. In the second half, we have a couple of presentations from our clients. So we are lucky today to have Sean Walsh from AI Censure speaking to us. AI Censure is a spin-out from Oxford University, and they have been looking at how to use AI on a revolutionary approach to CT scanning. So that's going to help improve patient journeys and also reduce risks to patients. We also have Marianne from Microbiera, and she's going to be speaking to us today about how she's been using AI coupled with Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy to identify different types of microorganisms. That can be used for all sorts of purposes, like quality control purposes, diagnostics, but also for things like microbial resistance, which is a particularly hot topic in healthcare at the moment. Our final session, if you didn't catch that in Tim's talk, is a workshop with our development team. They're going to be demonstrating how to apply AI in different situations with some pre-trained AI models. And Tim will run you through each idea later on, so I won't give you any spoilers on what we have coming up. But you'll be splitting into 4 different groups, and there's plenty of time in the session to see each demonstration and work your way around the room. All of these applications for the workshop at the end have been hosted in a way that you can take them home with you afterwards. So we'll give you all the details of how to do that, and you'll be leaving with your very own digital AI goodie bag at the end of the day. So you can share them with your family, you can share them with colleagues, and keep on playing with those applications if you'd like to. And then closing the afternoon, we hope that you will join us for a drinks reception, as your brains will have had a little bit of a workout this afternoon, so you can join us to unwind with some drinks at the end. So we've introduced Tim's journey and my journey, but I think it's worth putting this conference into a little bit of context and just briefly running through OCC's journey up until this point and why we even wanted to host an AI conference in the first place. Well, mainly it's because I like coming up with difficult problems for Tim to solve, really. But he's thrown this back at me a little bit and asked me to just run through some of our history. So I have picked 3 examples of our steps on this journey into AI. And the first one, I'm sure you're wondering why I've got a picture of a little fluffy chicken on the screen. We started to look on this journey at projects with statistical analysis. So a great example of this is with our work with the University of Oxford Zoology Department. They've come up with a really, really great piece of research looking at how to improve chicken welfare, hence the picture of the little fluffy chicken. And this research showed that you can actually predict the health of a flock by looking at the movement patterns of the chickens. So that would mean that the farmer would be able to detect certain diseases or disorders in their flocks, such as lameness or hockburn, and then apply a treatment earlier than they could have done to the flock. So that brings huge benefits, not just to our friends the chickens, but also to the farmer, as they can have a better yield and also the quality of the meat's vastly improved. So I remember when we were first developing this, we didn't actually have any lovely little chickens to test with. So we set up our Raspberry Pis and our development cameras, and we had them trained on our development team. And we found out they don't move around an awful lot. And they also leave at the end of the day, which is a little bit difficult for you tracking this. But we still actually have one camera trained on our development team. I'm not sure whether they're aware. But most of the time, these cameras are now in chicken houses, in farms around the world, monitoring chicken welfare, although the occasional developer does slip into the test data. So from here, one of the next key steps in our journey was into applying language models to social media data. And the Emergent project uses text analysis algorithms to identify all the important information out of some social media posts. And we use this to inform first responders, so fire services or police services, and that helps them to manage major incidents. So that could be a flood or a road traffic accident, for example. I mean, you've all done it. You've seen some flooding, you've taken loads of pictures, sent them to everybody you know on Twitter. Maybe you've got a really good one, like this cow one. But although that seems really trivial to you, all that data is really useful, and you can use that to build up a map for the emergency services. So you can show, for example, with flooding in this case, you can show them the extent to a flood, but also when that flood starts to recede, and help them to manage their resources in a better way around that incident. So we built a social media data analysis tool. We focus particularly on the Twitter API, and paired that with a machine learning algorithm which conducted text analysis of those data sets that we were getting in from Twitter, then identified tweets that contained patterns of words characteristic to an emergency. So for this example, for flooding, we trained the model. As with all machine learning, I'm sure a lot of you know, training the model really teaches you how valuable that step is. So we could determine whether people were actually talking about genuine floods or whether they were just using turns of phrase like they were in floods of tears or something like that, which isn't particularly useful to send to your fire services. But I think this project in particular proved to us at OCC how valuable it was to add trained models to our customers' application and how impactful that could be. So from using this machine learning for social media, our involvement moved into healthcare. And I think a good example of this was our work with Ultronics. This started off actually as some PhD research coming from Oxford University. And the concept behind it was really groundbreaking and really ambitious, trying to take the accuracy of diagnosis of this scan from around 70% to about 95%. a huge increase in accuracy. Now, as you can see from these images on the screens, these are real stress echo scans. They're pretty blurry and really difficult to tell where the heart walls are. I don't know if anybody can tell where the heart walls are in these images, but the heart actually appears upside down. So you can see those dark traces in the red is the heart walls appearing. And if you were a clinician looking at this scan, those would be moving at the time as well. So you've got even less time to figure out whether this is the right shape. A lot of the time when the scans are being done, the clinician just has something like a pen to hold up to the image to see the heart wall moving relative to the pen. So even the most expert clinician finds it really difficult to try and diagnose one patient. So the research in this case noted that just one stress echo scan produces about 80,000 parameters. So one patient, one scan, 80,000 parameters. So if you can combine that with the clinician's diagnosis and a patient outcome, if you're using historical data, you can then train an algorithm to recognize patterns in those parameters. And then on being given a new scan, you can then spot discrepancies, which is how they then improve the accuracy by approximately 20%. So this was the first of many medical device projects that we've done, really revolutionizing the way that healthcare is done. And we've got two great examples here today from Microvia of Marianne and Sean from AI Centre. And you can understand a little bit more about how we've been applying AI and helping patients. So having walked through our history and a little bit up to now, I think it's worth just running through where we are today and looking at what we do now. So we deliver AI projects in three main ways. The first of these is turning your AI research projects into products. So like the Ultromics example with the heart scans, research algorithms are being developed all the time. And we've become somewhat specialists in being able to turn these algorithms in research into a product that you can actually scale and bring to market. And that's not just limited to healthcare. That could be in transport, in agriculture, in engineering. And we can also add pre-trained AI models to your solutions. So our workshop today will demonstrate just how easy that could be. I hesitate to use the word easy, accessible that can be to you. And we think that these are a really great way of introducing AI into your product. Particularly if you're on a tight budget, that can be a really cost-effective way of getting into this space. And lastly, but certainly not least, we also create new products with the latest AI technologies. So we've been working on using models to solve problems for a while now, using machine learning frameworks like PyTorch or TensorFlow, mainly for image recognition problems. But this is a really fast-moving field, and we're actively making sure that we're trying to keep up with these latest technologies, which are being released all the time just to keep us on our toes. So to make sure that we're keeping up with all of these latest developments, we really value our links to Reuben College, which gives me an amazingly good segue into our first speaker.